So it's a regular Saturday night talk, and we just sent Abhayagiri Dhamma off this morning. I mean, there was a small gang of us that are still there. His flight is later this evening, so he's been with us for, I don't know, about 10 days or so. And for many various reasons, I'm just one of the things I'm sort of feeling and contemplating is gratitude, and the gratitude for, say, his presence, and but it's also a more of a, say, broader sense of, especially of him being a representative of the lineage of Ajahn Chah, but also just lineage of Sangha. And that the sense of gratitude that we are a part of a lineage of tradition that's still quite vibrant. But also, of course, we've just finished Katina, so just tremendous gratitude coming up for the lay community, that so many people came for Katina, and there was probably the largest number of lay people since we've established the monastery, and people were exceedingly generous and just being interested to come and plug in. It's just is really, really heartening. Of course, another thing I was grateful for is in having the one of the people who came for Katina was my mother, and just having her here, and that she still exists and still in good health and good faculties. So this, for many, many, many reasons, feeling a real sense of gratitude, but then reflecting on it as just how, the Buddha does talk, or place, give importance to this quality of gratitude and how it brings many blessings. And that's when we do the chant on the highest blessings. One of the qualities that is the highest blessings is gratitude. And it supports so many other wholesome qualities. It's so, and especially in a time when, just in general, the society, the world is kind of overwhelmed with negativity and things that are and wrong and flawed. And it's not that there isn't things that are flawed and completely off, but that's not the whole picture. And so much of it is what we focus on. And it's like we can take, and oftentimes we do, we all, and we have our own flaws and things that are wrong with us. But if that's all we focus on, then life becomes pretty unpleasant or get skewed. It's like something very, really simple. It's like you think, well, we've got our whole body, and and we've all got thumbs, most of us anyway. We've got thumbs, and if you hold your thumb out, you say, well, it doesn't take up that much of our field of vision. But if you can bring it closer and closer, it gets, and close one of your eyes, and it gets bigger and bigger. It takes over the whole field of vision. You can't see anything but this silly thumb. Like when I actually FaceTimed my mom, and she had her thumb over the camera. She does that fairly often. But if that's all we end up sort of seeing, that's the whole world becomes this, stupid thumb. So that expanding our field of vision and paying attention to the things that we experience and that we can be attentive to, and there is these opportunities for tremendous gratitude. And the Buddha says that it's actually rare. Two beings that are really rare in the world, and one with gratitude and one who reciprocates that gratitude, the katanyu and kataweti, and sort of both to experience gratitude, but then also to act on it and to reciprocate it. And of course, the Buddha is saying it's rare, but he's also saying, it's really important to develop it, to lay that foundation, because it does bring so many benefits, and it's such a positive catalyst for the good, the wholesome, the kusala citta. And that's what the Buddha uses over and over again as a measure of, is our practice growing, maturing, going in the right direction, or is it not? Is when wholesome dhammas increase and unwholesome dhammas decrease. And so that whatever tools we can use that help the wholesome, the kusala to increase is really needs to be paid attention to and given much importance. So that this sense of attending to gratitude and paying attention to things, and because it doesn't mean that everything has to go absolutely right in order for us to feel gratitude. Like we've got to get everything right, and we've got to do everything right and good, and we've got to be all that is good, and in order for us to feel gratitude. No, I mean it's just pay attention to what you've got or what you're experiencing, and just getting up in the morning and still being alive and being able to breathe. I mean, it's not a small thing. Every day there's people who drop off all the time. So it's that sense of paying attention. And then learning how to use things to one's advantage. It's like there's a Chinese folk tale. It's in Western tradition as well, but I'll use the Chinese one. I've come across it, and probably everybody's heard it actually. But it's just a folk tale that points to the difference between heaven and hell. And in hell, the beings in hell, they all have really short arms, and for being able to eat, all they have is really long chopsticks. So you can never really get enough and can't really feed themselves properly. So then they're miserable and they're fighting with each other, and it's just this, and that is the hell realm. It's this awful circumstance of constantly being not enough, not feeling comfortable. But then in heaven, the beings also have short arms, and all they have is long chopsticks, but they feed each other. And so then because they feed each other, then they delight in each other's company, and they enjoy their time there. And it's just a simple quality, and that's the difference between heaven and hell. So it's the sense of recognizing the circumstances that we're in and learning how to use it skillfully, and having a sense of gratitude rather than sort of always looking at the flaws or the lack of things or the competition that one has trying to, or worry or fear of what one's going to lose out on. How can we help each other? How can we live with each other? How can we be grateful for what we do have? And and in terms of meditation and practice, that lays an incredible foundation for meditation and for being able to settle the mind. I mean, it's in the same line in the sutta, the discourse on the highest blessings. With gratitude, the other quality in that same line is contentment. contentment, gratitude. These are the highest blessings. And it really is true. And when we can have that gratitude and contentment with what we're experiencing, who we are, what the world around us is, we can grow in the Dhamma. And in particular, the mind becomes more settled, more still, more clear, more bright, more spacious. And it's because of these foundations of wholesome Dhammas, bright states of being, rather than, again, that sense of sticking your thumb in your eye. Or in the Thai idiom, the similar sentiment is a strand of head hair can obstruct the whole mountain. You get a little strand of hair in your eye, and then all of a sudden there's a mountain out there, but you can't see it. Your vision becomes completely blurred. So it's just learning how to direct attention skillfully, and in particular that sense of gratitude, and the gratitude that for that which we do have and are experiencing and are able to lift our minds towards. The mind becomes steady and able to stay with. Like if you're just we chanted the Anapanasati Sutta this evening, as being happy to be with the in-breath and the out-breath, being content with the in-breath and out, being grateful for the in-breath and the out-breath, and taking each breath in this present moment. Can we? What would it be like to really feel that and a sense of gratitude? And similar, I remember Lumpur Cha one time telling Ajahn Jayasaro came into underneath Ajahn Chah's kuti where he used to receive visitors, and he bowed, and as we all did as you came, it's like similar coming into the hall, bowing 3 times, and he just looked at he wasn't Ajahn Jayasaro then, he was sort of young Jayasaro Bhikkhu, and of course Ajahn Chah called him, he had his own nickname for him, called him Chan, which is a play on words of his name. His lay name was Sean. Called him Chan. Chan means spoon. And he said, "Oh, Chan, if you really knew how to bow and really bowed with your full heart and really bowed with gratitude, there wouldn't be a time that you bowed and didn't have tears in your eyes of gratitude and appreciation." And it's really, really moving, because it's just the opportunity to come into contact with a true teaching, a teaching that is really pointing us with truth and wisdom. And that sense of being able to pay attention to what is the good that we have had the opportunity to be in contact with. I mean, there's a sutta where the Buddha, Majjhima 39, Mahasapura Sutta, where the Buddha says, like recluses, and you call yourselves recluses and people look on you as recluses, but you should be reflecting and considering, how do we live our lives fully, and this is can extend that to practitioners, sort of Buddhist followers. How are we Buddhist followers, and how are we practitioners? How are we samanas? We're those seeking peace, and how do we fulfill that appellation? We want to be acknowledged, and when we look on ourselves as the one who is seeking peace, but how do we do that? And the Buddha, it's through just how do we practice in a way that fulfills the aims of the that appellation of being a samana, a recluse, and particularly in terms of us as monastics, how do we live in a way that puts to good use the requisites of food, clothing, shelter, and medicines for when we're sick, and brings great fruit and great benefit to those who have made those offerings. So yeah, how do we respond to all of that, living this life, having this opportunity to follow the Buddha's teachings, and to respond out of gratitude for those teachings and the incredible good fortune of having faith in the Buddha. And the Buddha lays out the path of practice, and it's a very beautiful sutta on the kind of gradual training, because this is a gradual training. Paying attention to the developing of hiri and ottappa, conscience and concern, and conscience and prudence is another good word for that. And that sense of because the roots of virtue really come from the heart quality of, having a sense of not wanting to stain the heart with greed, hatred, delusion, not wanting to act on our greed, hatred, and delusion in ways that impact others. And so that they just tending to looking after those roots of training the heart to be sensitive, because it's, again, in terms of qualities of brightness, come when we have these acute sense of appreciation of refraining from the unskillful and the attending to the skillful, to the beautiful, in terms of our precepts, in terms of our own moods and feelings and heart, and really attending to that. And that's your beginning. So then really attending to one's conduct, really establishing in skillful means, and then going through attending to the training of mindfulness and clear comprehension, and attending to wakefulness, and training the heart to relinquish the hindrances, and sort of delighting in not clouding the heart with sensual desire, with ill will, with sloth and torpor, with restlessness and worry, with skeptical doubt. Is being willing to relinquish that, and being, and then again, just being very grateful that it can be relinquished. I mean, we can dwell on it and obsess over it and steep our minds in those moods, but that's not really helpful or useful. It doesn't give us a good foundation for experiencing states of calm and brightness, and then refining that so that the mind has become more settled and composed and still. So really attending to that stillness and composure, so that when you start recognizing, well, that's actually what the essence of our being, our possibility, is in these qualities of stillness and clarity. And that's what's really satisfying. Chasing after the world has never been satisfying, but even chasing after the constant doing of the mind, the constant being and becoming, the constant identification with self, the identification with me and mine is, it's just tiring. Besides being unsatisfactory, but it takes a certain stillness to recognize that and be willing to relinquish and let go, and really feeling a sense of gratitude that wow, it really is possible to let go. We can let go of our impulses towards anger and greed and kind of coarse qualities of revenge or lust. And not only can we relinquish that, we can, and you pay attention to how do we refine that relinquishment? How do we refine that letting go so that we're learning how to dwell in stillness and clarity and dwell in a freedom from suffering? Because it's that is the opportunity that we have with this being born in this human condition. That's why they say, from a Buddhist perspective, being born in the human realm is incredibly fortunate, because we do have the opportunity to make choices, and reality is we make some pretty dumb choices sometimes, but that's not all of the picture, and the picture that you want to be paying attention to is the picture of the opportunity to make the choices to relinquish that which is obstructive. And greed, hatred, delusion are obstructive. Desire, views and opinions, self identification are obstructive. It's just this, but it can be let go of, and it can be relinquished, and that's sort of the essence of this path is really relinquishment. But it's not a pushing away or annihilation or a negation. It's sort of learning how to fill the heart so that it is content and has gratitude. And that is a place you relinquish from a place of fullness. In the same way, that's just trying to bring the mind to a place of stillness. You can't force the mind into stillness. You can't force the mind to be peaceful. But you can steep the heart in the qualities of gratitude and a sense of appreciation, of a gratitude to the example of the Buddha, of being a fully liberated being. And the whole lineage that has come down to us, 2,500 years of people practicing this path and receiving the fruits of it. And sort of like, that it's possible, it's tangible, it's real. And to be able to allow the heart to delight in that. And then, but it's not me getting that, it's me recognizing that possibility, and that's the heart being full, and then relinquishing and letting go any movement of heart, and moving out to anything, any identification. And it's on a certain level, it's incredibly simple, but we have a hard time doing simple things. We're great at complicating, but something like gratitude is, on a certain level, extremely simple. And we are surrounded by things that are worthy of gratitude, and to learn how to pay attention to it. It's like just, again, what stimulated this was just sort of me reflecting on, wow, this whole past week, 10 days, 2 weeks, has been just one after another things that are just really worthy of gratitude. So just a few thoughts for reflection this evening.